Welcome to People, Power, and Politics. Hard talk, riveting interviews, community updates, in-depth analysis. That's People, Power, and Politics. We tell it to you as it is. No holds barred. You are the people, you have the power. We bring you the politics. To listen to our show, be a guest, or to advertise, visit www.pppradio.nyc. That's www.pppradio.nyc.
What is gentrification? An analysis of its impact on Black and Latino communities in NYC and potential remedies, by Brian Figueroa, Esquire, the law firm of Figueroa and Associates. Introduction. Understanding gentrification. Gentrification is a process of urban transformation in which lower-income neighborhoods are revitalized by an influx of more affluent residents, often accompanied by rising property values, increased rents, and cultural displacement. Though it is sometimes framed as a necessary component of urban renewal, gentrification in New York City has had devastating consequences, particularly for Black and Latino residents who have historically lived in and contributed to these communities. This article examines the definition and process of gentrification, explores the economic and political consequences for Black and Latino New Yorkers, and offers potential legal, political, and community-based remedies. 1. Defining gentrification in the NYC context. Gentrification in NYC generally involves developers, landlords, and incoming middle to upper-class residents transforming historically working-class, Black, and Latino neighborhoods into more affluent enclaves. Hallmarks include renovation of old buildings into luxury condos or co-ops, the proliferation of upscale restaurants and retail, increased police presence, and quality-of-life crackdowns, rising rents and property taxes, evictions or buyouts of long-term tenants. Neighborhoods like Harlem, Bedford-Stuyvesant, Crown Heights, the South Bronx, and Bushwick have all seen significant demographic and cultural changes over the past 2 decades. In most cases, these changes were not organic or community-led, but rather driven by public-private real estate ventures backed by political interests. 2. The economic consequences for Black and Latino residents. 1. Displacement and housing insecurity. Gentrification forces out long-term tenants who can no longer afford skyrocketing rents or are harassed by landlords eager to capitalize on rising property values. Rent stabilized, and Section 8 tenants face pressure through buyouts, construction harassment, or outright evictions. Many displaced families find themselves in less accessible or less desirable neighborhoods, exacerbating housing insecurity. 2. Wealth stripping via property taxes and foreclosures. Longtime Black and Latino homeowners are often unable to pay increased property taxes, leading to foreclosures and the loss of generational wealth. In NYC, the average property tax bill in a gentrifying neighborhood can increase by over 50% within 5 years. Homeowners who cannot keep up with these changes often lose their homes to speculative investors or tax lion sales. 3. Loss of cultural capital and small businesses. As rents increase, small minority-owned businesses are pushed out and replaced by corporate chains or white-owned boutiques that cater to the new demographic. This erodes the cultural identity of the community and diminishes local economic power. 4. Employment disruption. Local workers in service sectors such as food, childcare, and elder care are displaced alongside their communities, losing access to employers and transit routes. New businesses often bring new hiring practices that don't prioritize legacy residents. 3. The political consequences, disempowerment, and disenfranchisement. 1. Electoral displacement. Gentrification changes the voter demographics in city council and state assembly districts. The replacement of working-class Black and Latino families with wealthier, often white residents, shifts the political landscape. As a result, progressive or community-based candidates are often replaced by more moderate or developer-friendly officials. 2. Weakened tenant power. Displacement breaks up organized tenant associations and community boards. These groups historically advocated for rent control, public housing reform, and anti-displacement policies. With their base disrupted, their influence wanes. 3. Increased policing and surveillance. Gentrification often comes with increased policing, particularly under broken windows and quality-of-life strategies. This disproportionately affects remaining Black and Latino residents, who face higher rates of stop and frisk, ticketing, and arrest. The criminalization of these communities serves as another form of economic destabilization. 4. Cultural erasure. Public art, murals, and community institutions, churches, schools, cultural centers, are often destroyed or co-opted. The political power of cultural narratives and historical memory is replaced with sanitized versions of neighborhood history that center newcomers. 4. Remedies and resistance. Legal, economic, and political solutions. 1. Stronger rent protections and anti-harassment laws. New York must expand protections under the Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act, HSTPA, of 2019 to include automatic legal representation in housing court, criminal penalties for landlord harassment, and a cap on luxury renovations as a tactic for increasing rents. 2. Community land trusts, CLTs. CLTs are nonprofit organizations that buy and hold land in perpetuity for community use. Housing on this land is kept permanently affordable. Supporting CLTs in places like East Harlem, the Bronx, and Brooklyn is a key step toward community control of housing. 3. Tax relief for legacy homeowners. Implementing targeted tax freezes or rollbacks for long-term residents and seniors could prevent involuntary displacement through tax lands. This would preserve intergenerational wealth for Black and Latino families. 4. Moratorium on luxury development in vulnerable areas. NYC should implement zoning restrictions that prohibit new luxury construction in gentrifying areas unless accompanied by deeply affordable units and community benefit agreements, CBAs. 5. Political mobilization and voter education. Organizations like Make the Road NY, VovCALNY, and Churches United for Fair Housing are working to re-engage displaced and vulnerable voters. Supporting these efforts is crucial for maintaining local political power. 6. Preservation of cultural districts. The city should designate Black and Latino cultural districts with financial support for arts institutions, cultural events, and historical preservation. This can legally protect against cultural erasure. 7. Real estate transparency laws. Mandating public disclosure of all LLC real estate purchases and campaign donations by developers would expose the corruption underlying many residings and luxury developments. Conclusion. Gentrification in New York City is not just an economic process. It is a racialized mechanism of dispossession that transforms entire neighborhoods and displaces the very communities that built them. While some argue that gentrification brings revitalization, for Black and Latino residents, it often means exclusion, trauma, and disinheritance. Without structural intervention, legal protections, community control, and political resistance, the cycle of gentrification will continue to erode the fabric of New York's most vulnerable neighborhoods. Remedies exist, but they require political will, grassroots organization, and a reframing of urban development as a tool for equity rather than exploitation.
People, Power, and Politics. Hard talk, riveting interviews, community updates, in-depth analysis. That's People, Power, and Politics. We tell it to you as it is. No holds barred. You are the people, you have the power. We bring you the politics. To listen to our show, be a guest, or to advertise, visit www.pppradio.nyc. That's www.pppradio.nyc.